We are back on Taking Care of Business on Current Radio, News Talk, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM, and now on the Internet on knutmedia.com. So, serving Richmond, Oakland, and the San Francisco Bay Area. We had a great interview with Larry Pickett, and our next guest is one of my favorite people to have on the show. He is a former classmate of President Obama at Columbia, the Libertarian VP candidate for president in 2008, and the author of a great book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. The always controversial Wayne Allyn Root. Wayne, welcome back to Taking Care of Business.
Hey, Marty, how are you?
Good. Clay's off today, so it's just you and I, my friend.
Cool. I'm glad to be on with you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. So there's a lot to talk about with you did a great article about well, first of all, I need to talk to you a little bit about your other business, your thriving sports prediction business. I wish I would have talked to you before the Super Bowl.
So you heard through the grapevine that I had the Seattle Seahawks, huh?
Yes, I did, and it's funny. In Vegas last March, so a year ago, I put a bet down on a small bet down on Manning and Denver winning the entire thing. So I was pretty confident until that opening play, and then it was like, oh shoot. The icing is coming off the cake.
About 12 seconds into the game, you knew Houston, you have a problem.
Definitely.
No question about it.
Yeah.
So it was a nice win for me. And funny enough, since you and I last spoke, I've written a couple of commentaries about lessons the Republican Party should learn from Seattle's Super Bowl victory. I don't know if you saw those.
No, but tell me about that.
Well, just, first of all, the Republican Party keeps looking for a good candidate who believes in the right issues for a president in 2016. Pete Carroll is not an X's and O's coach. He didn't win the Super Bowl because he draws up a better game plan than the other guy. He won because he's the best salesman in football. And he sold his players on the confidence that they would win a Super Bowl together playing as a team. He sold them that they were better than Peyton Manning. He sold them that they not only shouldn't be intimidated by the greatest quarterback in football history, but they should go out and intimidate him. And he was right, and he won. And what the Republican Party needs is a great salesman, not a great candidate. Ronald Reagan was a great salesman, and Barry Goldwater wasn't, and that's why Ronald Reagan won in 2 landslides, and Barry Goldwater, with the same exact ideas, lost in a landslide. George McGovern was a lousy salesman. He lost in a landslide to Richard Nixon, but then 30 years later, who comes along? Well, 40 years later, who comes along? Barack Obama, same idea, same communist philosophy as George McGovern, and he wins 2 relatively easy victories because he's a great salesman. And what the Republican Party needs to do is find someone like that. That was number one. And number 2, they won because they were more like the Tea Party, the Seattle Seahawks, than they were like the traditional establishment GOP. They didn't sit around going, how great Manning is, the way Republicans genuflect when Obama walks in the room. They said, we're going to beat him up. We're going to destroy him. We're going to intercept him. We're going to intimidate him. We're not going to sit around talking about the fact that he's going to make the Hall of Fame someday. Well, Barack Obama's president of the United States, and that's kind of intimidating. But Republicans, in response to that, should try and knock him off his pedestal and beat him up. And instead, they're nice to him, and they respect him, and they tremble when he walks in the room. And when he tries to negotiate with them, they give him everything. It's ridiculous. They need to be more like the Tea Party, more like Ted Cruz than like John Boehner or Mitch McConnell. And last but not least, the third lesson was that Seattle honors their 12th man, which is their crazy, intense fans. And they actually, have a flag and a song for the 12th man. And everything with them is about the 12th man. Our energy comes from our fans. The Republican Party is a 12th man. It's called the Tea Party. Why wouldn't you be nice to them and celebrate them and honor them? Why would you treat them like garbage? Why did it come out on a Fox News show the other day that one of their guests claims the Republican Party wants the Tea Parties audited by the IRS just as badly as the Democrats do, because they want to destroy them so they go away and they're in control of their own party again? That makes total sense to me. That's how bad the establishment GOP is. They're as bad as the Democrats, and we need the Tea Party to save us, not John Boehner or Mitch McConnell. They'll never save us.
We're having a conversation with Wayne Allyn Root, the author of The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. Wayne, I tend to agree with you because it's almost like the mainline Republicans I mean, they want to do everything they can to distance themselves from the Tea Party, when in reality, that's really the direction they should go. It makes no sense to me at all.
The
Why
only
do you
reason
think?
it makes sense is because they're a bunch of country club wussies. They're a bunch of powder puffs. You know, the guys who run the GOP have spent their whole lives playing tennis and golf at country clubs and going to prep schools, and they've been spoiled their whole lives. They're not street fighters like I am. I fought for my life as a kid growing up. It was either, survive or die at the hands of really brutal people in one of the roughest neighborhoods in New York. And I'm a street fighter, and I don't think any of the guys in D.C. are. I think they're all country club guys who either started out as prep school spoiled brat, Lucky Sperm Club members, or they became it once they got there. Because I know John Boehner was the son of a bar owner, so I doubt he had that kind of upbringing. But on the other hand, all that roughness goes away when you get to Washington and you become Speaker of the House, and people, all shake your hand and kiss your butt and tell you how great you are 24 hours a day. He doesn't remember how to fight anymore. None of them know how to fight or negotiate. So I just think it's a matter of Democrats understanding the game better, understanding the kind of war they're in, and being willing to use words that reflect that war. You guys are extremists. You're radicals. You're terrible. You're like Holocaust deniers when you deny climate change. Oh, my gosh. Republicans, how do they answer back? Oh, we want to be polite. We want to be well-mannered. We want to respect the president. How stupid is that? You are fighting with a pop gun, and they're fighting with missile launchers, guys. Don't you get it?
Yeah, it's crazy. I was at the Lincoln Club dinner here the other night, and in Kern County, and it's massive. Kern County is very, very conservative, very Republican. And Darrell Issa was the speaker, and I got to talk to him a little bit. I like him. I think he's a street fighter. He's an old Army guy, and had his own business before he went into politics. But I think guys like that are squashed by the regular Republicans. And we had John Boutelier on the other day, Congressman. He's on that show with Pat Cadell and Doug Schoen called Political Insiders. And he, I asked him the very same question, and he said the three of us think that the Democrats have something on Boehner, and Boehner's afraid to do what he needs to do because they're going to release the information. And I said,
well, that's called blackmail and extortion. And here's the thing: I've said it out loud in the press many times. I believe there's a reason Obama loves government. He loves the IRS. He loves the NSA. He loves the DOJ. He loves the SEC. He loves the FDA, all the three-letter agencies, because he uses them to spy on us and to extort us and to intimidate us and to blackmail us. And if you're a Republican and you're a big donor and you own a public company, he sends the SEC after you. If you own a business, it's that's in farming or something like that, then he'll send the Agriculture Department after you. If you own a drug company, he sends the FDA after you. And I think he uses the SEC. The NSA. I'm getting confused with all these three-letter organizations.
Sure.
He uses the NSA, National Security Administration, security agency, to listen to our phone calls, because then when he finds some dirt on you, he goes ahead and he holds it above your head. And I got to think the way Boehner and Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, and how about Supreme Court Chief Justice Roberts, all of them have been compromised somehow. Something's wrong. He's holding something over them, because I've never seen guys change opinions so quick. Paul Ryan, all he ever cared about was debt. And all of a sudden he goes along with raising the debt ceiling with no problem, no compromise, get nothing in return. There's something wrong with these guys. So I agree with you, Marty. I think they're being blackmailed.
Yeah, something doesn't make sense. And and I don't think the Democrats realize what a freebie they got initially. When Roberts, looked at Obamacare and said it's really a tax more than anything, because the chief executive can change tax law like Obama's changing it, and not have to go back to Congress to change the law, and he's taking full advantage of that.
Right. Well, listen, don't forget, the argument Obama made to get it passed in the first place was that it wasn't a tax. So how could the Supreme Court come along and say it's okay because it is a tax? What they should have done is said, being that it's a tax, it's therefore illegal because he passed a law stating it wasn't a tax.
Right.
So he had no right to ever pass it in the first place. The argument made no sense. They argued in front of the Supreme Court that it was not a tax. And then they passed it with this crazy idea of manipulating and playing around with it and turning it into a tax. Who came up with it? Obviously, Justice Roberts.
Yeah.
Why did he come up with it? He's a true conservative, and he came up with that?
Exactly.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, why did he come up with it? That makes zero sense, and was actually a freebie for the Democrats, because now they can change it all they want.
Well, they do change it all they want, anytime they want. But, I don't agree with what you just said. They can change it anytime they want. They're doing it, but it's illegal, Marty. It's a violation of the Constitution. You can't pass a law can't be passed by Congress, and then the president wakes up every day and makes a new change to it. It's illegal. You can't do that.
But
he doesn't have a right to make changes in a law passed by Congress. So none of this makes any sense at all. The country is lawless. It's a banana republic. The media doesn't ask a single question.
Oh, yeah.
They go along with it. And now, the slaps in the face that Obama aims at the media are even outrageous, outlandish. Number one, they're on his side. It's a banana republic, and yet he was listening to them. Attorney General Eric Holder was listening to the Associated Press and to a Fox News reporter, spying on them, listening on them, reading their correspondence. Don't they get angry? Don't they have a spine? And now it came out today, the big story at Fox News, is that the FCC, there's another three-letter organization, the Federal Communications Commission, has a little clause in their latest proposal. And the little clause that almost slipped by unnoticed is that the government can put censors or monitors in every newsroom in America to check how they decide what news is in the headlines.
Yes. When we come back from the break, I want to talk more about that, okay?
You got it.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Current Radio, News Talk 1180.